Right then, lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're diving into the latest around Arsenal. A few players have already left the club for their international break. The comments of Ian Wright on Granit Xhaka, Alan Shearer on Mikel Arteta, and a few transfer stories. But of course, Martin Odegaard's situation as well, which is a priority at the club for now. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. Let's get the podcast to 60,000 subscribers. In the comment section, I've asked you already on the WhatsApp group chat. If you want to be part of the channel, if you want to be part of our weekly podcast for the fans, let me know in the comment section below. But also, you can use my WhatsApp number, inbox me, or use the group WhatsApp number. Inbox me, and I will have you on the weekly fans podcast. We should have that one. It should be up and running at least this week. Now, a few players have left Arsenal have left the club for their international duties. The players I can confirm are Granit Xhaka for Switzerland, Aaron Ramsdale, and Bukayo Saka for England. William Saliba has also arrived at the France with the France team. Thomas Partey for Ghana, Tomiyasu for Japan, Kieran Tierney for Scotland, and Matt Turner for USA. So those are the players that are representing their respective countries from Arsenal. The three Gabriels, of course, we did confirm the other day that the three Gabriels are not representing Brazil. So Gabriel Jesus stays at Arsenal. Gabriel Martinelli stays at Arsenal as well. And Gabriel Magalhaes. I think the other surprise is Benjamin White. Ben is not also called up with the English national team. Of course, Mikel Arteta said the versatility of this guy should actually warrant him a place in the England national team, not disqualify him from representing the country. I think there are not any other big surprises. The other big surprise is Martin Odegaard. Now, the Norwegian national team manager has been speaking about Martin Odegaard, and he said today he's going to be undergoing scans at London, and they're going to be knowing the latest around Martin Odegaard and the injury. Whether he's going to join them for a few games or all of the games, it is still unknown. But currently, he has not joined up with the Norwegian national team. The likes of Erling Haaland have already gone, but we have to wait, and Norway has to wait for Martin Odegaard. Now, the excerpt I liked and the part I liked in this interview is they expect him to at least play one game. If the worst goes to the worst, they expect him to play at least one game for them. If not that, they expect him to join as a manager, as a coach. So that is how really high they hold this guy. At 23, he's already captaining the Norwegian side, and they cannot afford to miss him. They cannot afford him being out of the camp, him being out of the squad. So they're saying if he's injured and he cannot play, that is all right. They will take him as a coach. He has to be there as a senior in that team. I mean, imagine at 23, you have that kind of value to your national team, and a national team that has players like Erling Haaland, by the way, one of the best striker in the world right now. But Martin Odegaard's role to that national team is absolutely key. Alexander Zinchenko has not traveled for Ukraine as well, as I did confirm in the earlier videos. He's also still struggling through injury. That is confirmed as well. Emil Smith-Rowe not called up for England. He's still traveling through an injury as well. So in terms of Martin Odegaard, all you need to know right now is that today he's going to be going through his scans. We will know the extent of the problem. Is he going to be available for the North London derby against Spurs? Will he even play for Norway? I'll let you know in the upcoming videos. Of course, you can trust me when it comes to that. Now, Ian Wright has been speaking about Granit Xhaka on the BBC, and he said the difference between Xhaka this year and Xhaka 6 years ago at Arsenal is the role we've given him in the side. And he said when you look at him on Switzerland and you look at him at Arsenal, then he's now playing a similar role at Arsenal, just like he's playing at Switzerland. Now, one thing I didn't understand in my life is this. Many players, when many players played in deeper areas on their, on club level. For example, Alaba at Bayern Munich as a left back, at Real Madrid as a centre back, right? Granit Xhaka as a 6, or as this kind of deep lying 8 at Arsenal and Borussia Mönchengladbach, and a couple of other players, right? But when it comes to their countries, when it comes to them representing their countries, and Alexander Zinchenko as well, they always play in more advanced areas. Xhaka literally plays as a 10. As a box-to-box, but a very, very high advanced box-to-box for Switzerland, right? Because we have the likes of Xherdan Shaqiri around there, because I don't know if Shaqiri is going to come back with Switzerland. He definitely should. Because you have the genius in Shaqiri who can give you that kind of width and creativity in the 10 position. Xhaka plays as a very high creative number 8 for Switzerland. And I think I agree with Ian right here, because when you look at what he's doing at Arsenal right now, he's literally playing a box-to-box free role. He's playing everywhere on the pitch, but his most concentrated point on the pitch is high up the pitch. Whenever Arsenal are in possession, he's one of the highest points. He's one of the highest players on the pitch. I think he loves that. Right, he loves that. I was rewatching the goal he scored against. The assist he made against Brentford, and he's literally close to the penalty area. What he does first is look around him, scan, and see is anyone coming closer, because he doesn't have the pace to track back. He doesn't have the pace to outrun players when he loses the ball, it creates a counter attack. So he scans his area. He scans everything around him. He notices no one is closing him down, and then he scans in front of him and produces that quality. I think Mikel is a genius. Mikel is an absolute genius, and we'll talk about this on Alan Shearer's comments, because what he's done with Xhaka is he has noticed Xhaka struggles with pace, so he literally cannot, he can't, be that guy for you who tracks back all the runs and does everything. So what he's done is placed him high up the pitch, guided him with Thomas Partey, and told him, you use your pace at your own speed, make sure you track back. And in that game against Brentford, he didn't use a lot of pace, but you could see him all over the pitch. He loves that freedom, he loves that authority, and I think he has it at Switzerland. He's slightly and slowly picking up the same authority in this Arsenal side. So Ian Wright, right about that. Alan Shearer as well on the BBC, speaking about Mikel Arteta, and he said the difference Mikel Arteta has made is not having and creating a different team at Arsenal, which is actually done, because in the last 13 months of active football, Arsenal have had 3 different teams, and all these teams have been defined by their quality and defined by results they're producing. Because 13 months ago, we lost three games in a row against Manchester City, Chelsea, and Brentford. After that period of time, we went into the international break, and that is when the second team started, making us dream about the top 4. And now the third team, in a space of 13 months, is being judged as title contenders. So Alan Shearer says the mood around Arsenal and the spirits around the club that Mikel Arteta has risen and driven once again is the difference, and is what makes him a special manager. I was watching a behind the scenes video. I think a clip of the All or Nothing series, and Mikel was talking to these Arsenal players and told them, if you are connected, if you pass energy, he literally calls it the light bulb and theory. I don't know if it really exists, really. So he was telling them, just like a bulb, you need your wires, you need the connectivity, you need the connection to light up. And so what he was trying to tell them is that everyone is a source of energy to the others, and when you're connected and you light up, what you do is not win and pick up points. But what you do is you light up 60,000 fans in our stadium. And with that kind of backing, almost, because Arsenal, I think, we must have around, in general, around 7.5 million fans actively right now. So if you can connect with 7.5 million fans, 7.5 million people who believe in you, the spirit is back, the mood is back, the belief is back in the fans, then you can definitely win games and even start thinking about silverware. So that is that from Alan Shearer. Now, a few clubs are monitoring the situation of Ethan Nwaneri. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, according to the Scout report, they're saying that Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea are all looking at this contract situation of young Arsenal starlet Ethan Nwaneri. Now, I have to remind you that Ethan Nwaneri is now the youngest player at 15 years and 189 days to play in the Premier League. That is the Premier League record we have currently. So, look, I've seen the story that all these clubs are interested in him, and I'm quite amused, honestly, right? Because I don't know why. With Chelsea, I understand, because with Chelsea they have taken the likes of Omar Hutchinson. That transfer still hurts me. Yes, we have Marquinhos now. He's a better player. He's already doing magic and wonders. The mentality, the attitude, the age, the maturity of Marquinhos is absolutely over the top. But Omar Hutchinson is always going to be one of those young gunners that I've followed and loved all my life. I really, really liked him. And the fact that he signed for a rival in Chelsea just baffles me. Honestly, it absolutely baffles me. So the 15-year-old is now attracting interest from Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. Chelsea are good at the young kids business. They're good at stealing young players from academies. They're very good at stealing these young talents, loaning them out and making huge amounts of money on them. Because if you look at their squad down through over the years, how many of these young players they always acquire from West Ham, Southampton, Leicester, Arsenal, Man United academies? How many of them have really made it to the Chelsea starting lineup? I don't know. Is Loftus-Cheek one of them? Okay, Loftus-Cheek. Trevor Chalobah, is he another? Probably. I don't know if he's a product of the academy, but he sounds like one. And no one else. They spend a lot of money on their first team squad. So I think Ethan Nwaneri is one to watch. Pamet Saka and Granit Xhaka have all been speaking about this guy, and Xhaka for me says made the most impactful remarks. He said he's already doing his coaching badges, and he has trained the under-16s. And when he looked at Ethan Nwaneri, he's just different from all the other guys. Now, a comment I saw, and look, this is kind of comedy, so I'm not really sure it was true, but it says Ethan Nwaneri went in. I think it is high, I don't know if it's middle school or high school, for trials to get a scholarship, and he had to be taken off the pitch because none of the other players was actually coming closer to the ball. Right? I mean, it sounds like comedy, doesn't it? But it just highlights how good this guy is, how good this boy is, and I hope he can become the best he can become. Mikel, for me, is the right manager to handle such talent. And in his press conference, he said, look, he's taken a step forward, and now he needs to take like 3 back to take another one forward. I think you understand what we're talking about here. Play with the under-21s. I think that is his level. With the under-21s, if he's too talented, too gifted for the under-16s, then and under-17s, then let him play with the under-18s or under-21s. Then he can go through the development process. So Chelsea, they scare me when it comes to stealing young talent. They really, really scare me. They are really, really good at snatching, such players. Manchester City, of course, they are rival of Pep Guardiola in the last 6-7 years. Just changes the trajectory of this football club, the value of the club, and I think all the structures at Manchester City are now deemed to be fully functioning because Pep Guardiola is there. Of course, we know the kind of hand, golden hand he has with young players. I don't think any parent would go, I don't want my son to play under Pep Guardiola. You would be absolutely crazy. But in Mikel Arteta, you have a mini Guardiola. Honestly, we have a mini Guardiola here, so I think Ethan Nwaneri will be fine. Liverpool do not scare me when it comes to stealing young talents, especially from Arsenal. Of course, they do have a very, very good academy, I think, but I don't think they will try to get him. I don't think they will get him. So it's Manchester City and Chelsea that scare me when it comes to Ethan Nwaneri. And finally, Fabrizio Romano was speaking about Cody Gakpo, and he said, first and foremost, you have a few clubs that are interested in Cody Gakpo, and he could be available in January. Now, PSV are in the same group as Arsenal. That is in the Europa League. I even don't know which group we are in. Are we in Group H or Group G? I even don't care. So they're in the same group as Arsenal. They have already dropped points. I think it was against Bodo Glimt in the first game. They have not played their second game. It had to be at the Emirates Stadium. They're quite a very well-managed side, and they're so exciting. They have some very good players in there. Think about the likes of, Sangare. Think about the likes of, Gakpo. You think about the likes of... There's some talented players in that team. However, Cody Gakpo is, for me, the outstanding guy. Of course, if I'm Arsenal, I'm thinking about the likes of... I'm thinking about Ibrahim Sangare Mo. I want some guy to be the monster in my midfield. I want some guy to break down play, and disrupt opponents' rhythm. Ibrahim Sangare is the guy. But Sangare is just signed until 2026. So Cody Gakpo is the one that the whole world is optimistic will be moving. Fabrizio says Man United could have the bigger chance to sign Cody Gakpo in January. I disagree. After spending 100 million euros on a winger in Anthony, they're not spending more money on a winger. Honestly, they're not spending more money on the winner. Actually, I've seen a couple of fan channels, Man United fan channels, complaining the Glazers are not ready to spend on Eric Ten Hag's project in January. Obviously, they spent a lot of money in the summer, close to over 200 million, didn't they? Yeah, over 200 million. Okay, close to 200, because you have that 100 million euro, price tag for Anthony. Is it around 75 million euros for Casemiro? Then you have around 80 million euros for Terry Malacia as well. They spent close to 200 million. So I don't see them spending another 30, 40 million euros on Cody Gakpo. But it makes sense because Cody Gakpo's agent is the same as Eric Ten Hag's agent. They've both been in the Dutch Eredivisie. They understand each other. I think PSV being the biggest rivals of Ajax last campaign, Eric Ten Hag would have noticed and would have paid more attention to PSV players, and in particular Cody Gakpo, because he was the monster there. 25 goal involvements last campaign, and this campaign is already started off very, very well. But this is where Arsenal get the advantage, and this is where we come into the conversation. Of course, we are always in the conversation, aren't we? If Cody Gakpo is not going to Man United, this is the list of clubs that could sign me in January. Newcastle United, Arsenal Football Club, Leeds United, and I think Southampton, right? Those are the four, and Brentford. Those are the 5 clubs that I remember were breathing down his neck when in the summer. So let us evaluate these 5. Brentford, they're not spending money in January. They're not spending 40 million euros in January. They wanted Mikhailo Modric. They were ready to spend 30 million euros in the summer on him. And I think it is because he was an exceptional talent. Modric is exceptional. Okay. 2. Okay, we forgot Everton. Everton could, because they're going to be in that situation where Frank Lampard is going to demand every kind of backing, every kind of investment and reinforcement. So Everton can spend 30 million euros or 35 on Cody Gakpo. Leeds United out of the picture. Newcastle can, after buying the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and Kieran Trippier last January, or this January actually, you fancy them to have another good window should they decide to. So Newcastle are real contenders. And Arsenal, it is now clear Mikel Arteta wants a winger in January, but our budget is around 30 to 35 million euros. I'm quite surprised that we went in for the likes of Noah Lang in at Club Brugge, and the likes of Mikhailo Modric, and we didn't think about Cody Gakpo. Is it because he naturally plays a more central role than the likes of Mikhailo Modric and Noah Lang, who are happy to spread play and make the pitch as big as possible? Probably. Because when I look at Noah Lang, he's a very, very typical winger. When I look at Mikhailo Modric, Jack Grealish style. When I look at Cody Gakpo, he loves being closer to the box rather than being far away from the penalty area. I looked at his goal that he scored over the weekend as they won 4-3, and he created 3 assists in that game. 3 assists in that game, honestly. We are talking about a guy who's trying to replicate his numbers last campaign, and he's already had 3 assists through 90 minutes. So the other thing is the goal that he scored. He literally is going to be that guy that helps Gabriel Jesus. If you sign him, he's going to be the guy that helps Gabriel Jesus with the attention, because Gabriel Jesus is always known in that penalty area, right? Because there's a lot of obligations off the ball, right? So you need players who are always going to be occupying the penalty area. Jacques is doing it very well. I don't think Martinelli is, but I think Cody Gakpo would be a better player. And if you signed him, he would be a very nice forward to get into that penalty area and make sure you have enough bodies when the deliveries come in. You have some players to pick up the first ball, the second ball, and the spills as well. So Cody Gakpo is available in January. We'll Arsenal look at him. Remains to be seen. Mikhailo Modric is still the priority, but Cody Gakpo being available just changes the dimension. Of course, it will depend as well on if Gakpo and PSV are still in the Europa League. If they still are, which I think they will be, that changes the trajectory of the conversation now. It does, honestly. I'll speak to you right in the next one. Catch me, of course, on Kosi Talks Football, the 90 More podcast, and now on TikTok as well. Kosi Talks Football. See you very soon.